Okay, hi, welcome back. Welcome. I'm Freya. This is my AuthorTube channel, and this video is going to be a mid-year goals writing kind of projects check-in to see where I'm at, and it is not where I expected to be at this point in the year. So I went back and just rewatched my 2026 writing goals and projects video in preparation to sit down and film this. And I am kind of a little floored by how unambitious my goals were. I had two, essentially. I had Query, The Go-Between Girl, which is my second novel, historical fiction story based on an alternate history of the Roe versus Wade decision in America, and told from the perspective of Harriet, who has just finished college and kind of gets pulled into working for an underground abortion clinic. And it's kind of told, the novel's told over the whole course of her life. So yeah, I did check. I did achieve that goal. I started querying that in March or April. I don't know, one of the two. But it has been in the query trenches for several months, and I am almost ready to make an update video on how that's going and what the kind of situation is with that. But not quite. So you won't hear anything about that in this video. But check, goal 1 achieved, done. Yay, celebrate. Cue the fireworks, cue the big band, theme song music of celebration. My second goal was to add, to work daily, not daily, but to work on my third novel, which is titled High Quality Man, and is a contemporary, set in contemporary times, and documents the kind of fall from grace of a manosphere podcaster named Tyler. And that novel, in the video where I listed my goals, I think at the time that I filmed that video, I say I'm 18,000 words in, and I don't think I realized kind of how far along in the project that was at the time I was filming it. The deadline I give myself in my start of year video was 2027. And if you've been around the channel and you've been watching my content over the past few months, you will know that I have a completed draft and I'm now into draft 3 of that novel, and I was giving myself until 2027 to have a completed draft 1. So suffice to say, I have definitely overshot that goal by a quite significant margin, and kind of tick as well, cue fireworks and celebration music. I got to that goal as well. So you may be wondering, Freya, do you need to set some new goals? Do you need to be more ambitious with your timeline and how you kind of decide how long things are going to take you? Yes, probably. And that is kind of what essentially this video is, a reevaluation of those two goals. And I think the other thing I mentioned in that video was that I had written a few poems and was thinking about making a poetry project. Nothing has moved on that front. I have not touched that project. I have not written another poem since then. It feels kind of like a blip in in my creativity that I wrote those 2 poems in the first place. So that project has sat completely untouched. But since I kind of had some downtime between waiting to hear back from my critique partner with High Quality Man, I did start a new project, and I'm currently 13,000 words into that new project. And yes, this time I have set what I feel is a much more ambitious timeline for that project, which is that I want to have a first draft done by December of this year, which is like maybe a quarter of the time a quarter of the time I gave myself back in January to finish High Quality Man. So current goals is draft 3 essentially of High Quality Man. It is with my critique partner again, and he's going to get to it in the next week. So we'll have some more feedback on where that's sitting, and then what I do with that will kind of depend a little bit on how my querying goes with the Go Between Girl, which I'm still querying as a slow process. I'm still kind of in limbo waiting to hear from people. And then starting this new novel, which doesn't have a title and is only 13,000 words in. So my current goals from now until the end of the year is that draft of High Quality Man, and then also the new novel, to get a first draft of that. And depending on how querying goes, I don't know whether I'll be working on the Go Between Girl again this year, or whether I don't want to jinx what the stuff that's in the air currently by saying things like self-published. Not that that's a dirty word or, you know, a shameful thing to consider. I self-published my first novel, but I don't want to speak on it because I feel like I'm writing something into the universe, or some shifting tectonic plates kind of thing. So is having only 2 goals enough? Will I, in the next few months, pick up the pace on the novel I'm currently first drafting and get that finished? That would be kind of unlikely the way it's going. I guess with every new book, you have your overarching problem. I spoke about this a little bit in my last video, that you feel kind of hangs around with you for that whole book. And in High Quality Man, in the Go Between Girl, I was still like new to novel writing, so it was, will I ever get this done? Will I ever get to the end? Will I ever get to a finished kind of completeness? And then you kind of, with High Quality Man, I kind of lost that fear, and I had a new fear of, will this voice sound authentic? Will this character sound like a man and not a woman writing a man? And that was my big anxiety. And then now with this new novel, my new anxiety that I'm grappling with on a daily basis is, do I like it enough? Do I like it enough to keep writing it? Do I like it enough to finish it? Do I like it enough? Will I like it enough to query it / publish it? Will I like it enough? Because I'm not as excited about the idea. I kind of know that. It's not as juicy to me. I don't think it markets as well. Yeah, but it's early days. So I'm kind of, even though I think that's an anxiety that's going to be with me for the whole project, I'm kind of trying to put that to one side right now and just take it day by day. And while High Quality Man is with my critique partner, to continue drafting something new, because I think the muscle of novel writing really, like, it's exponentially different writing your second novel to writing your first novel. And then once you get the second one complete, the third one, I really didn't struggle as much on a day-to-day writing the next scene level. I struggled with other things, but like that, knowing that I was going to get to the end and that I was going to finish was no longer kind of weighing on me. So yeah, I think that's essentially all I have to say. I totally, completely overshot my 2026 writing goals, which is a great problem to have. And so now I'm kind of in this stage where everything that I said I wanted to achieve in January is done, and I have to find new challenges and new goals for the rest of 2026. And that is where I'm at. But I would love to hear how your own process, how your own writing is going, where you are on your 2026 goals, whether you achieved any of them, whether they have completely fallen in a heap and you kind of have to pick yourself up for the second half of the year. I'm beside you if that's the case. So yeah, that is kind of essentially the end of this video, and thank you for watching. Okay, I'll see you in my next, I think my next video is going to be a vlog, but I'll see you then.